Here's Waterloo Public Square in Waterloo, Ontario. The population is 97,500 people. When was this developed? In 2009. It took 2 years to plan it. Approximate cost was $2.1 million. The size is 13,200 square feet, or 1,200, just over 1,200 square meters. This is what the plan was for it. It's right next to a mall. It was really just a parking lot. Here it is before. Once again, people are losing parking lots for plaza space, and while people scream and cry bloody murder, at the end of the day, they're happy. Before, after. It's crowded with people. The retail sales went up in the mall. You name it. It helped revitalize the city. It created that central gathering place. So here you can see where there's entertainment going. You can see the band shell off to the right there in the foreground. It's packed full of people. Here it is at dusk. It's well lit up. Remember what I said about being well lit. And having the permanent seating areas like this create just a natural seating area without always having to bring in chairs, and then people can bring in their lawn chairs. And here it is during the day when nothing's going on. It's still a great seating area, a great gathering place. And here you see it again. Once again, it spurred redevelopment all around the Plaza area and took what was an eyesore and made it into a central gathering place. Is that cool or what? Can you imagine? Even people go out there for yoga in the mornings out there on the square. It is so cool. And when there's nothing going on, still grab a lunch, sit out there. And now what they've done is they've added an ice skating rink in the winter months. Once again, year-round activity center. It is very popular and has totally worked. So what was it prior? The parking lot that you saw. The city paid for it. It's managed by the city's Community Cultural Recreation Services, which is part of the city. They spend about $45,000 a year in programming, marketing, and supplies. Notes, they have events almost every weekend, June through October. And they have regular weekday programming May through September. You know, every other weekend, January through May, November, and December, there's things going on there. And it brought the business together, and they involved them in all the events. And it's been very successful. Another one, this is Star Plaza in Cleveland, Ohio. The population is 394,000 in downtown Cleveland, bigger in the metropolitan area. 1996 is when it was developed. It took them 3 years from concept to completion. Approximate cost was $1.6 million in 1996 dollars, and it's about 22,000 square feet or half an acre. And in this case, this is what it looks like. So in this case, what they did is took what used to be vehicular access and turned it into a plaza. Notice it has a permanent stage at one end. It's got all kinds of seating. It's ringed with trees that create a sense of intimacy. That is how cool plaza areas can be. So you can see they can be almost any size, any shape, and in any configuration, as long as they're relatively level. What was it prior? A street right-of-way. So that was all full of vehicular traffic. Funding sources, Star Bank, which is now U.S. Bank, philanthropic donations, corporate fundraising, and the city donated the land. Who manages it? Downtown Cleveland Alliance. Playhouse Square Foundation assists with events there on the square. And their annual budget is about $70,000 a year for programming and marketing, and about $30,000 a year in capital improvements and maintenance, and that's paid for through a business improvement district. So some notes about Star Plaza. It's really busy May through September. They have yoga out there, concerts, all kinds of promotions, corporate and public. They created a very active neighborhood by giving people that live in the area a central gathering place. This is in the theater district there. And it spurred 6 fine dining establishments right there. The challenge, they think it's too small. So they want to build another one. And now there's a 100-unit apartment complex coming right now next to the square. And long-term maintenance plan is what they said is a word to the wise when we talk to them. The next one is Stuart Park. This is in Kelowna, British Columbia. Population is 117,000 there. They developed this in 2010. It took them 10 years to get this thing funded and programmed and actually built. They spent about $4 million on it, and it's about 17,000 square feet. so about 1,500 square meters. This is the rendering of it. They're still working on the left part of the rendering, but you can see the event plaza and the ice rink. I'm about to show you that. And you can see the waterfront out there where they've got boats and everything. They created a promenade that fronts the plaza area. Very cool. And so, this is what it looks like. Notice that bear up there on the pedestal. You know, he actually lights up at night. It's very cool. You know, just a great piece of public art. And there he is at night. Isn't that awesome? Love it. And here's the stage area part of the plaza area. Notice they have seating there. They have people behind the band, in front of the band. You can bring your lawn chairs out there. And here it is in the winter. They turn it into ice skating. And you can see the waterfront plaza off to the left there. Just a great job they've done there. Public washrooms on to the right there. A major gathering spot. Very, very cool. And even at night, it's just well lit up. And that's just what it's like. And during the summer, here they are doing, I think, breakdancing right here on the square. Is that cool? And then they will do yoga and all these kinds of things. That's what I mean about central gathering places like this. They're just awesome. And that's what it can do to any downtown of any side. Here it is when it's under construction. You can see the waterfronts off to the left. You can see the promenade there. And you can see they're building the plaza off to the right. So that's during the construction. Just a great example of what you can do in a northern climate, no less. So, and by the way, they have to freeze the ice in these places. So it's not like, well, it's so cold, it just freezes all year. Notice the fancy LED lighting that they use around it along the promenade. So it looks well lit. It's beautiful year round. So what was it prior? A parking lot. Once again, local taxes and a $500,000 urban planning grant is how they got this thing built. And who manages? The city events department. The washroom is the building department, maintains it, and the maintenance of it is the parks department. So it's a combination of city departments managing it. Individual washrooms can create challenges. So that was one thing they learned. When you have an individual washroom, people can go in there and maybe do things you don't want them doing. So one of the things we recommend is that you do a public washroom with multiple stalls and maybe a changing room and things like that, just so you don't have that kind of activity. So these are lessons learned from people that have been there and done that. They're now converting another parking lot area, adding the green space you saw in the rendering, gas fireplaces, benches, water misters for the hot summer months. It's busier in the winter than it is in the summer. That's what we mean by year round. No smoking is allowed in the plaza, and we recommend that for all plaza areas, that no smoking is allowed. It's a public gathering place. Sad, it's a trust land, and so no commercial activities could take place on it. And we always recommend that plazas be a place for commercial activities. So we hope in your plaza that is not going to be a hamper your efforts. The space can be rented for weddings and things, and it's open from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. during the summer months and 8 in the morning to 8 p.m. in the shoulder evenings. Remember what I said about moving to the European standard, wanting to be open later in the evening. And here's one more, Chamber Plaza. This is in Ashland, Oregon. You know, the population is just 20,000. Notice we're getting to some smaller communities here. And here is downtown Ashland. You can see that little corner there. That is the chamber office there. And it's just a small little plaza area. And here it is. It doesn't have to be very big, but they've got a water feature there, and the kids come out, or youth or college students there, they come out and they will play, and their friends gather around them. This is not very big at all. It's just a small little space. So sometimes it could be as simple as this. So you might do 5 or 10 of these little places and then program them. And it's just a great example of what you can do for hardly any money. Here's another one. This is the Alley in Shipshewana, Indiana. Population just 700. So for you in rural areas, don't panic. You can do this. This was just an eyesore, so they took just an alleyway and they added benches and everything here, and now they'll start to programming it. It creates a central gathering place. I only have the one picture of it, but it's really cool what you can do. You can turn almost any space, as long as it's centrally located, into a terrific plaza. So, the next one is the Plaza in Round Rock, Texas. The population is 100,000 there. It's very centrally located in Texas. This was developed in 2011. The approximate cost was about $515,000. So once again, you don't need to spend millions to do it if you have the land, and the city did have the land. It's about 14,000 square feet or 1,300 meters. And so here it is. This is right centrally located to downtown Round Rock. And you can see right here the Plaza area, and on the right is the Convention and Visitors Bureau and an art gallery. To the left, that building there is converted into a reception hall. What a great place. You could rent it out for weddings or business receptions or business after 5, Chamber of Commerce events, whatever, and it's right there on the plaza. You can see the parking garage in the lower left area and City Hall. So this was just a dirt area. I remember going in Round Rock saying, boy, this would be a great plaza. And they did it. And it's fabulous. They have a big star there. You know, Texas is the Lone Star State, and it turns into a water feature, and it is just crowded with people. It's a terrific example of what you can do. You can see this is the water feature when it's closed off there in the foreground. Notice how they have it all lit up with different lighting, state-of-the-art LED lighting where you can change the colors. You see green, yellow, blue shades. You can see the stage back there off to the right. You know, here they are doing yoga in the mornings in the square. Here it is with a band on the stage there, which backs up against one of the buildings. What was this prior? A grassy park, so to speak. It was more dirt than even grass, and there was nothing ever going on there. Funding sources, general obligation funds. The city paid for it out of just general funds. And who manages it? Parks and Recreation Department of the city. Other notes about that? They have a 610 square foot permanent stage, so that might give you an idea for stage size. The water feature is about 1,075 square feet. And then we've got 2.5 years in planning and design of it, and the construction of it was 9 months. And then state-of-the-art lighting that you saw, which is programmable. Special events coordinator programs it, works for the city. You can rent it for a small fee. And then they do 50 to 75 events a year in the plaza. And many of those are multi-day events. And it's open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and sometimes even later. And big increases in downtown retail sales and service. You know, before this, people in Round Rock really didn't hang out in downtown Round Rock. They went next door to Austin, 6th Street there, which is famous for its entertainment. Or they would go to the lifestyle retail center in Round Rock or the Domain in Austin. And now they've got a reason to stay in their own community, and that spurs local spending. Mint Plaza is in Jesse Street in San Francisco. The population is about 30,000 in the area, the mid-market area it serves. When was this developed? In 2007. It opened in November that year. The cost was about $3.5 million. The reason I want to show you this was paid by a private developer. Why would a private person spend $3.5 million building a plaza area, and then he gave it to the city? And it is 290 feet long, about 18,000 square feet. Why? Because he happened to own some of the buildings around it. And by the way, this was a blighted area that was drug central. You can see where it's located in San Francisco. It's in its little area close to downtown. And this was it before. It was just a street. Here it is before. It was a busy street there. And those buildings off to the left and right, you know, actually fell in disrepair from when this was photographed and when they started redeveloping it. If you owned these buildings here, don't you think if you could turn this into a plaza, wouldn't that be the coolest thing? And there it is today. Is that cool or what? It is very green. They capture rainwater, drainage, runoff. Notice the arbor trellis off to the left there. This is it. And you know, there was a lot of consternation about getting rid of that traffic, and there's no complaints today. This is one of the prime places to be in downtown San Francisco. Before, after. This is the most desirable place to live. Before, you wouldn't even want to go there because of all the crime and everything that was going on there. It has become just a showcase for all of San Francisco. Talk about a public-private partnership where the private developer did this. He invested in it because it would help his projects, gave it to the city, and together they developed this project. And look at it. It is really, really cool what they have done there. Notice here you've got vendors in there, you've got restaurants in there, you've got entertainment in there. During the day, at night, they bring in bands, concerts, solo musicians like this guy. So you come down for lunch. I mean, it is just the coolest thing ever. You know, and so they took something that's blighted and they made a showcase for all of San Francisco right here. See these orange chairs? I'm going to tell you about those orange chairs in a minute. Here it is at night. Look at that. Notice they have these buildings now are full of residential and high-tech companies. Prime real estate. Notice the tablecloths on the doors. Notice how it's lit up at night. They can even do light shows on the buildings for special events. This is just so incredible. You know, here the buildings are light at night for a special celebration that they do, for all kinds of events. You know, in this example here, they brought in the little Christmas candy cane house there that they can take down and invite locals and kids into it. You know, and here's some of the food vendors they have there and restaurants lining Mint Plaza. You know, it is just an amazing example of turning something that nobody wanted into a shining example of a public-private partnership. Nobody is complaining about the loss of parking. And by the way, in the old days, you wouldn't even let a kid anywhere close to this place. And here they are hanging out and having a great time. Welcome to Mint Plaza in downtown San Francisco. Now, when it goes around the corner, there's actually levels. Notice how they did levels. You see the steps down to the lower level, and you go around the corner, you'll see the primary area of Mint Plaza. And so, there's some more of those orange chairs. So what was it prior? A drug-infested, dirty, unsafe, unsavory right-of-way street. That is their words. Funding sources, the private developer donated to the city and paid for it through a single property business improvement district. He's funded the whole thing, but at least it was financed by creating that business improvement district. And only $150,000 came from any public sources. Who manages it? The Friends of Mint Plaza. There's no cost to the public at all. This nonprofit does the fundraising, it keeps it programmed, maintains it, takes care of it. The annual budget is about $14,200 a month. That includes street cleaning, the entertainment, security, programming, capital improvements. Everything is under that, and it's all funded privately. So, some other notes about this. The area has grown to 30,000 square feet of public space. Mint Plaza is lined with cafes and restaurants. Millions have been spent in residential commercial investment. So talk about increasing the tax base locally. Not one of those movable chairs has ever been stolen or intentionally damaged. Not one. So, there are now 4 live-work buildings surrounding it that are full of residents and high-tech companies. And the Blue Bottle Cafe, which is on Mint Plaza, is one of the highest volume restaurants in all of San Francisco, and it's now open 7 days a week. And there was initial consternation over closing the street to vehicles. No more. So, here's Park de Plaza. So this is one that's really fun what they did. It's in the East Village Arts District in Long Beach, California. The population is about 40,000, give or take, in the district, and about 500,000 in Long Beach area. This was developed in 2012, and you know what? The cost was $6,000 and 30 gallons of paint. You heard me. The size, it's just 2,250 square feet, about 209 square meters. You know what they did is they took part of a parking lot and painted it. There it is. It's all the bigger it is. You can see the bike rack there and everything. So they did the paint. They made it kind of cool looking. They bring in a vendor truck there. They bring out some tables and chairs. You know, there's the $6,000 there. They put in some umbrellas there. They took what was a parking area and turned it into a great little activity area. So if you want to test it, try something as simple as this. $6,000 and 30 gallons of paint. And then invite in vendors in there. That's how cool it is. You know, one more. This is Heil, Georgia, a small little town of just 500 residents. It's a Bavarian town. And it's out in rural Georgia. And here it is. You can see gathering areas. This is kind of their plaza area off to the right. In the background, you see a little steeple down there beyond the flags there. That's actually a stage area. So here it is on the inside, the street's out on the left. So they created the water feature there in the middle. They got some stones there. So this is kind of lineal. They put in lots of benches there. And then there's their little stage area. Isn't that cool? It's that little Bavarian looking shelter there. They put some permanent benches there. You can add behind it, bring your own lawn chairs. And they just created this cool little event space right there. Not very much money went into this. They did it over time. You know, it's got a little back door, so you can see the back door to the stage, so they have a changing room in there, and it's all lined with retail shops and restaurants. And finally, I want to close with a great before and after case history. This is Main Street Square in Rapid City, South Dakota. The population is 70,000. The challenge, how do you increase tourism spending in Rapid City? You know, and I'll tell you the situation. Michelle Lentz, a good friend of mine, is the executive director of the Convention Visitors Bureau there. She had us do a branding development and marketing action plan for them. And she was trying to figure out how to increase visitor spending in Rapid City, to have it be a destination in its own right. Because when I went there, I call it the hole in the middle of the donut. So let me explain. If you go to Rapid City, surrounded Rapid City is Mount Rushmore. There's Custer State Park. Here's the needles in Custer State Park. You can see wild buffalo roaming the area. You could go to the historic town of Deadwood, which has a great casino there. You can go to Sturgis, the largest motorcycle rally in the world. None of these are in Rapid City, but they all wrap around Rapid City. You could go to Badlands National Park, an incredible national park. You could head into the Black Hills for rock climbing and hiking and biking. You could head up to Wyoming, a couple hours away, and go to Devil's Tower. You know, and you could go to the little town of Keystone, which is right next to Mount Rushmore, or the little town of Hill City, which is an arts town. Here it is during the motorcycle rally. So here we are in Rapid City. You can see the donut there, and here's where all the attractions are. That heads up to Devil's Tower. You know, this heads over to Sturgis, or to Deadwood, or out into the Black Hills, or, you know, out to different caves. Jewel Cave is out there. I mean, you name it. You can see where all the activities are. So what happens is, people come to Rapid City, they might spend time in Rapid City overnight, and they get up in the morning and they leave. And then when they come back, downtown was for the most part closed. They could even head out Interstate 90 to Wall Drug, the famous drugstore that's now a tourist attraction. You know, they even have attractions like this that are not in Rapid City, but are near Rapid City. So once again, this whole effort took an interesting turn. You know, I was there in the middle of the summer when you have 4 million people in the area, and downtown was quiet as a church mouse. Yes, there were some people there, but there was more people working downtown than there were customers in the middle of the day, in the middle of summer. You see a few people walking around. You know, here you go. The streets and the sidewalks, for the most part, are vacant of people. You know, here it is again, middle of the summer, right in July. You would think that downtown would be busy, and yet it's not. And so they had all these presidents. You know, they got Mount Rushmore nearby. So they had all these presidents that are bronze sculptures. They're very cool. And you can go find your favorite president. And I went and wrapped my arm around Ronald Reagan here on the right, you know, my favorite guy, you know, and different presidents from all different time zones. But the problem is they're static. Once we've been there, done that. It's a great homage, but is that enough to get you to come downtown? So one thing you need to know about tourism is the #1 activity of visitors in the world is shopping, dining, and entertainment in a pedestrian-friendly setting, and that is where 80% of all non-lodging visitor spending takes place. So in Rapid City, we might be going there for Mount Rushmore, but where do we spend most of our money? Shopping and dining and entertainment. That's what they realized. Why do you think that Disney built downtown Disney outside of each of its parks? To get that 80%. And the second thing is, if you don't hang out in your downtown, neither will visitors. They go where you go. And then third, we're spending money later in the evening, and here's a statistic for you. 70% of all consumer retail spending, both locals and visitors, takes place after 6 o'clock p.m. Are you open? Once again, take a look at that. Plazas are a way to stretch your evening hours. You know, it can make you the after work, after school destination, or after we're done visiting these outstanding destinations. Nearly all the recommendations of the Rapid City Plan focused on downtown. That gave rise to a new organization called Destination Rapid City. Not Downtown Rapid City, Destination Rapid City. They want to make downtown a destination for both locals and visitors. And one of the primary and most expensive recommendations was the development of a public plaza. So they did this plan in 2008. 2009, they started raising the money. 2010, they did the design. 2011, they did the construction. And October 2011, it opened. So here's where it's located. You can see it right there. The main boulevard is just a couple blocks away. It's right there. And so here it is before. Notice the building off to the right there. That used to be a Sears store. It was vacant, pigeons living there, and then you can see a parking garage on the left side, and you can see the parking lot. That's where we wanted them to create Main Street Square. Now, they would lose 60 parking spaces. We thought, well, could you build that another level on that parking garage? And they said, yes, we can build a third level on it. But the point was, we also had to use some of the lower level parking garage that you see there, that front of the square, have public restrooms, maintenance offices, and other vendors and stuff in there. So you don't just look from the plaza right in the public into a garage, you look at other vendors and other amenities at the plaza. So there it is. And so here it is again. You can see there's one of the presidents standing off to the right there in your picture. And here it is across the street. You can see looking at that parking lot, it's right smack in the heart of the downtown district. We had a great idea that it should look like this. Notice the waterfall coming off a 3-story parking garage, and notice the lower level of the parking garage all being full of vendors and retail space. And we had this big, huge amphitheater kind of there. You can even see a water feature in that. But they did something a little different, and that's okay. What they came up with is awesome. So here it is, before. There it is from the air. You can see it under construction there. You can see the parking structure behind it and other retailers right around it. And here it is after. This is July 8th, 2012 at 10 o'clock a.m. Sunday morning. Does your town look like this on a Sunday? Morning at 10 a.m. There is Main Street Square. And by the way, I even suggest they tear out that building. They didn't. And I'm glad they didn't, because it is some of the most expensive real estate in downtown Rapid City. And the lower levels all full of restaurants. Is this cool or what? There was a car show going on. They were just setting up. They even had fenced off part of the plaza area to create a beer garden there because it was a car show. You can see part of the roof of the stage there. And here it is, packed full of people at 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning. There's a water feature right there. You can kind of see they did these big granite sculpture things to play up the granite that's at Mount Rushmore. You know, here the police department is doing they do a dog training session there. They can show you how the dogs are sniffing and training and jumping over obstacles. Pretty cool thing. And then here is by creating this plaza, all of a sudden car shows want to come in, motorcycle shows want to come in, quilt guilds, pottery guilds, you name it. Everybody wanted to host their events in downtown Rapid City. And it has been a great, great asset. Even these pillars you see light up at night. And in the background right there, you can see that flat area. That's actually a water feature. They had shut it off, and you'll see it in a minute when it's active. Here's a little kiddie train. They can take kids on rides through downtown. And here it is with the water feature turned on. So in between different things going on the stage, they would turn this on and the kids would have a blast. How cool is that? This is Main Street Square in Rapid City, South Dakota. Just down the block, all of a sudden the businesses everywhere, seeing their businesses just rise, the revenues, the incomes. This is Dan the man. He manages Main Street Square, and notice it says Fun Squared on his t-shirt. It is so cool. Here's a little video that I shot, amateur shot, of just going through the square. And so I wanted you to take a look at this, and you could just see what this is. And by the way, there are no vacancies in their downtown. It is 100% occupied. The real estate is fairly expensive, but you know what? There's no complaints. That's how cool this is. You can see the stage in the background. You can see the awnings over the first floor of the parking garage there where the restrooms are located. Here it is when they're setting up for that police dog show that they were doing right there. You can see people gathering around. Notice the different textures of the lawn area. I actually asked Dan, would you get rid of the lawn to have more plaza? And he said, no, I wouldn't get rid of the lawn. We kind of debate on that subject. And I always think you should have more plaza area than lawn area. But you know what? Having a mix is great. And here it is again. And by the way, they can program the water and it's lit up at night. I mean, it is just an amazing asset to downtown Rapid City. The total cost of this project was $8 million. And he said you could build it for $5 million if you didn't put in all the granite sculptures and everything that they did. Funding sources, $4.5 million came from local citizens, property owners that invested in this because they caught the vision of what this could do. And the other $3.5 million was funded by the city through different means. And so, ongoing operations, marketing, maintenance is about $500,000 a year. It's paid through a business improvement district levy and then lots of sponsors and partners that they go out and fundraise. Once again, this is it during the summer months. This is it during the winter months. And that ice skating is really, really cool. Their very first winter, they rented out 20,000 pairs of skates. Here it is at night. Notice how the water is even lit up. The pillars are all lit up. And look at this. This is what somebody said. I love the square, and as someone who works downtown, I have seen the difference it has made. I see so many more locals coming down here just to hang out and have fun, and I come back downtown on the evenings and weekends now, which I never did before. I love seeing my friends, colleagues, and everyone from my cashier at the grocery store to my hairdresser to the mayor hanging around events at the square. It gives a sense of community that we only had at summer nights, which is one event before. I am so glad we have it. And I love this Facebook post right here. All those people gathering in that photo are there for movies in the plaza, movies in the square on Monday nights. Movie night, Main Street Square, Rapid City. And you know what this person wrote? I grew up in Rapid City and it was never as cool as it is now. Market Square is now as big an attraction as Mount Rushmore. Wow. Downtown businesses, they had a lot of consternation. I went to 14 different merchants and walked in and said, what do you think about this whole Main Street Square thing? I gave them an opening to complain about. And the general consensus is it was the best thing that Rapid City has ever done. There are no retail vacancies. There is a lower turnover of retailers in their downtown. Businesses are now staying open later in the evening because there's people there. And many of the businesses have broken sales records around events at the square. And the average population in age in Rapid City is dropping because people want to live there. Young people, entrepreneurs, people with kids want to live in a place that has a great third place like this. And it is now a great place for conferences, conventions, and trade shows, not just as a leisure destination. So, in closing, a true plaza is the central gathering place with lots of seating areas. It is a year-round activity center. It includes interactive water features, whether it's ice skating in the winter or fountains that are flush-mounted that you can shut off or turn or program. It is programmed with activities and events. It includes a stage and audience areas. It incorporates retail food year-round, whether it's fixed or pop-up restaurants or markets. And finally, plazas are an investment, not just an expense. After researching 100 outdoor public assembly spaces, we could not find a single community that wasn't thrilled with the result and the benefit. You know what we found out? For every dollar you invest in a plaza, you'll see $8 in tax base in return. For every dollar. So if you spend $1 million on a plaza, you will see $8 million on average of redevelopment around it. Increased retail sales. Increased development around it, investment into facades and hotels and living spaces and retail spaces. It is, I can't even think of a better economic driver to get people to want to live in your downtowns and in your communities, to keep the youth in your community, and to spur new economic development activities. It's time for you to redevelop or develop your plaza. It doesn't have to be expensive. You see how it works in towns of 500 to millions. And in those towns of cities of 1 million people, they might have 4 or 5 plazas. Even in those cities, most of their plazas are neighborhood plazas in those areas of the downtown. It's an incredible opportunity for you. So thank you so much.